From the Sunmark Federal Credit Union Content Studio, this is the Sunmark 360 with Glenn Stacy.
It's great to see you today, and welcome back to the Sunmark 360. Today we feature part 2 of my Sunmark sit-down with President and Chief Executive Officer of the Capital Region Chamber, Mark Egan. Currently, the Capital Region Chamber represents 2,400 businesses and organizations from throughout the Capital Region that employ more than 150,000 area residents, all with the goal of enabling for-profit and nonprofit businesses of all types and sizes to accomplish more together than may have been possible on their own. In part 2, Mark and I discussed the outlook for business in the Capital Region, how we got here, and the challenges still to come.
That when we live and work here, sometimes you only know what we know. But if you look at any statistics, if you look at the state of New York, the only areas in the city of New York that have growth is one, the city does. And then really the other is the Capital Region. If you look at the other upstate areas, if you look at the North Country, you look at Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Binghamton, unfortunately, they're really on a slow, steady decline. You know, through a collective effort that began almost 20 years ago, the focus was how can we grow and diversify our economy? You know, for a long time, we were known as primarily state workers, known for our hospitals, and known for our colleges and universities. And those are three main pillars of our economy. But again, I think we've now, through technology, through innovation, through all different size companies, we really now have a fourth leg of that stool, and that's really the private sector. Those are for-profit companies versus those other three legs. Healthcare is nonprofit, colleges and universities are nonprofit, obviously state government is state government. And so having that private sector jobs is real important. You know, when people think of the chamber, they might think of, well, are they focused on economic development? And you know, I think oftentimes in our minds, if you were going to have an image for economic development, it could be bricks and mortar and cranes and steel buildings. It's like construction going on. And you know, in my mind, my definition is different than that. If we looked at it and said, you know, our vision of economic development is, can we make sure that our community has jobs that meet the educational aspirations of our children and our grandchildren? So whether that's a GED or a PhD, do we have jobs for them in our community? And I think we do today. I'm not sure 20 years ago we could have said that. When a family member might have gone to college and then it said, I want to live in a big city or I want to be by an ocean, and they were 28 or 32 and they wanted to come home, do we have jobs for them? And if we don't, I think we've failed them. And I think today, in large part through organizations like ours, we have those opportunities. And I think that we're positioned that our best days can still be to come in the Capital Region. So those of us who live here, those of us who do our banking at Sunmark, we need to believe in our community. Because if we expect people outside to believe in us, we need to believe in the richness and the resources that we have.
Now, you are at these other locations that you mentioned earlier, you know, the Adirondacks or the North Country or out west. What could they do to, to be more, I guess, moving forward, I guess, and not being stuck?
Well, I think that you know, one of the things that we were sort of fortunate years ago, you know, I think many people know that there was a real focus, again, about 20 years ago to say, you know, we have this sort of growing sector of some technology companies, some on the small side, but if we put a spotlight on that, can we really help it grow? And even the whole branding, sometimes you still hear the terms of Tech Valley, was to show that we're more than a state government town. And then what happened, again, this was a long time ago, that at that time, Governor Mario Cuomo looked at our public research universities through SUNY, and looked at Buffalo, looked at Binghamton, looked at Albany, and looked at Stony Brook, and said they're each going to have a center for excellence. Well, they decided all those years ago our center for excellence was going to be in nanotechnology. Most people didn't even know what that was. Well, we were fortunate that our center took off. Unfortunately, the centers in the other three universities didn't. So that helped it. We're also blessed that we have other colleges, universities. Again, going back to our earlier comment about talent, right. Most of the other regions, don't have that. But our goal would be for all of New York to do well, because if otherwise, we're really taking our dollars and we're helping subsidize our weaker family members. So if there was a way, and obviously, the state has tried to, they've had competitions through Empire State Development to try to spur economic growth in those other regions. I think they're just having a harder time for it to click and then to get the momentum that we're experiencing today.
As the CEO of the chamber, you wear a lot of hats. We see you at the grand opening, and we see you, talking with the politicians in Albany, trying to make things happen.
Yes.
Is there a favorite part of your job that you kind of look forward to the most?
Well, the amazing part is I have actually been in chamber work since I graduated from college. So I've been doing this for 31 years. I can't believe it. and the reason is because I can see the difference when you have the community working together for the betterment of the community. There's not a lot of jobs you can say, really, we're trying to build a better community. That's really what I do and the people that I work with do every day. I get to work, with Joe's Garage on the corner, and I get to work with the CEOs of our largest companies. So I'm fortunate that I really have a unique vantage point. Mm-hmm. And I think the chamber is an organization that really can have an impact. So I guess in some cases, as you asked the question, it's really the diversity of what I do. And then I'm fortunate to say that I have 31 years of experience. I don't have 1 year of experience 31 times. There's new opportunities. I grow as the organization and as our community grows.
Awesome. I want to kind of switch over to kind of your view of, just business in general in the capital region. We kind of touched on it just a little bit, but can you give me, we're a quarter and a half in, of kind of your outlook, how you feel as you talk to different businesses, how things are progressing here in the area?
I think we're doing very well. So I moved here almost 10 years ago. And people had said then that, we don't normally have recessions. And they thought it was because some of those pillars that we talked about, the strength of our economy. But that last deep recession, that was really an international recession, we felt. And we felt it for a number of years. And even when we started to move out of it, people and companies were still very cautious. But now we really have had several years of strong economic growth. If we look at our unemployment rate, it's, we're very low. We're basically at like full-time employment. And so as I talk to businesses today, almost no matter what their size is, whether they're for-profit or non-profit, one of the biggest challenges they have is finding quality people. So again, from the chamber side, we look at it and say, we can't say that's right now is just because the economy is strong. If we look at the true demographics, the number of people who are going to retire over the next 10 years because of baby boomers, and the number of folks in the pipeline to follow, we have a deficiency. So really one of the things that's incumbent upon our organization in working with other partners and with our municipalities is we have to attract people to move here. And that's why even our work in public policy is real important. While New York is good for a lot of things, I think most of us who live and work here enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of natural resources. We are also one of the most expensive states to live in. Yeah. Whether it's to buy a home or what we pay in income tax, what we pay in property tax. So for some people, they're going to look and say, well, can I afford to move there? So again, those are the big picture issues that we have to remind people of. So I think that we believe we're going to continue to grow, but we believe that there's potential impediments to our growth, and how do we overcome those?
So you have a lot on your plate to still left to achieve.
I never get bored. Never get bored.
Awesome. Well, Mark, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to chat with us and to join us on the Sunmark.
Well, we're pleased to have Sunmark as one of our key partners.
Yeah, we love being here. We love being part of the Entrepreneur Boot Camp and all the amazing things that are happening and what you're doing for the community. So,
terrific. Thank you very much.
thanks for joining us. To learn more about the Capital Region Chamber, find them online at capitalregionchamber.com. If you'd like to contact the Sunmark 360, our email address is sunmark360@sunmarkfcu.org. Also, why not give us a like on our Facebook page at facebook.com/sunmarkfcu and follow us on Twitter @sunmarkfcu. We'll see you next time here on the Sunmark 360. Don't forget to follow Sunmark and the Sunmark 360 on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.